Hi and welcome to this month's Q&A here at Veritas. We're unpacking this month's topic, which was despooking mental health, playing on the theme of Halloween, which we saw come in at the end of October. Thank you all for your terrific questions. Obviously, a lot of you were reading the blogs and listening to the podcast, so let's get stuck into it. So question 1 from you. My best friend is an energy vampire. What do I do? Well, I suppose there's a couple of ways that you can respond to this. Really, probably first I'd ask you to have a bit of a think about, is this how your friend usually is? Or is this something new that you've noticed over a number of days and weeks? If it's something that you've noticed that's new over days and weeks, it could mean that there's something going on for themselves personally, and that might be time to have an "are you okay" chat with them, or at least have an opportunity to check in and see if anything's happening for themselves. A change like that can be quite indicative that someone's struggling with something in their personal, professional, or relationship lives. So take the time to have a bit of a think and check in and see if you can't help them out, suggesting that they talk to a friend, talk to yourself, or maybe talk to a professional if that's something that might help them through that challenge. If it's something that you've noticed has been part of this friend's style or way of behaving since you've known them or for an extended period of time, it's probably indicative of their personality. And I suppose if it's something that you really feel is impacting you, or you really feel is something that is draining from you and is not adding to your life, then that's probably a pretty deep question about what role that person plays in your life and whether or not this is someone you want to keep dedicating time to and keep engaging with, or whether it's someone that you maybe invest less of your time with. The other thing you could do if it is part of their personality, I suppose, is to try and, put out to them what the energy that you're wanting back as well. So don't get stuck in a tit for tat sort of, well, if they're not going to reach out to me, I'm not going to reach out to them. Or if they're always going to focus on the negatives here and there, that I'm always going to focus on the negatives there and here as well. I would try and attempt to really emulate the energy and behavior that you want from that relationship out to see if you can get it to come back. What I would certainly not suggest doing is trying to change your friend or saying anything really about their personality, because at the end of the day, they are who they are and you're who you are, and you can't be expecting for people just to change. And also you can't control others, so you can't expect them to change either. Focus more on yourself if it is something around their personality. If it's not something that you're gelling with, if it's not something that you feel like is being productive in your life, then maybe weigh up whether that friendship is something you want to continue investing in, or maybe try and demonstrate the behavior that you want or the energy that you want from that relationship, but don't go expecting them to change or telling them to change, because that's not fair either. Question 2. Sometimes I feel the need to ghost people. Is this normal? I think it's normal for all of us to get fed up with people, or maybe lose interest in people, or have different moments here and there. Our emotions can have a big play on that and can impact the way we're feeling and thinking. It can also obviously be easier to just disappear than to actually go through that process of breaking up with someone or leaving someone's life. And obviously really what we're talking about there is being in a moment where you hurt someone else emotionally. Even if you're doing that from a good spot, the friendship's not working out, or the relationship or romance that was starting to brew is not working out, it does suck to hurt people, and we can all sort of find it easier to simply avoid doing that with ghosting. So yes, it is normal to want to ghost someone. It is normal to, I say, look for the easy way out. What is more important is how you respond to that emotion and respond to those thoughts. Buying into it and ghosting someone, look, personally, I'd say there's really no excuse unless that person has been mean, rude, or hurtful to you, but I probably wouldn't call that even ghosting if you were to leave that relationship or stop responding and to them. So to summarize again, what I'd say is it is completely normal. It is simply us as humans not wanting to hurt others, and that's very normal. And it's also easier to simply stop responding or to stop engaging with someone than to go through that process. So, don't just buy into that immediate option. Don't just let yourself take the easy way out. Do what's respectful, do what's nice, do what might hurt but is going to be more positive and productive for you and for that person. Don't just ghost. Because that leads to question 3, which is, I got ghosted and I don't know why. How can I move on? Well, as I just mentioned, that plays into question 2, right? Like, ghosting can do some damage to people. So if you have been ghosted and you don't know why, my first little thing I'd say is probably that pep talk about saying it's probably more indicative of the other person than you. It probably says more about their moral fiber and character than you as a person. So I wouldn't place too much emphasis on how that person has treated you. I would seek greater personal validation for your character and who you are through those that you know care for you and those that you know value who you are, what you're on about, and what your values stand for. So as easy as it is for me to stand here and say this, I would encourage you to move on, but move on through reconnecting to those people in your life that you know value who you are, and wouldn't go as low as to simply ghost you or cut you off for no explained reason. More solution focused than that, I would be suggesting that you reconnect with those communities around you and those activities that bring you good sense of value in your sense of self. So contributing to others, getting stuck into your goals, getting stuck into those areas that you feel like you're linked to your achievement. I'd also get stuck into those relationships, as I mentioned before, which are good, meaningful 2 ways, and build you up. Don't just rely on you to be providing the input. Further off, I would also be making sure you look after yourself from a physical point of view. Make sure you're exercising, don't drink too much, eat well, and get some good sleep as well. Be part of something bigger than yourself. Commit yourself to maybe a charity, or give up some of your time or effort for the meeting of others is another great way of being able to move through. What I'm talking around here is a model of what we call PERMA V, which comes from positive psychology. And we know that humans are more resilient and more overall happy, or in a greater sense of sustained well-being, when we're living out those PERMA V values. So do the things that make you, give you positive emotion. Engage yourself in something that's bigger than yourself. Spend time in those relationships which are 2-way meaningful. Link in with your meaning. Engage in those areas that are important to you and you garnish a sense of achievement from, and also look after yourself and look after your vitality, those physical health areas that I was mentioning before as well. Do that, make your focus, and don't read into the behavior of this other person. You're worth it, and the people that are in your life are there for a particular reason. So put more value on them, not the person that's just ghosted you. That was a Q&A for October, where we looked at despooking mental health. November, we're looking at all things validation. And if you've just been ghosted, I'd suggest that you get stuck into our content that we're releasing in November around validation, because it's really important that you validate yourself. Make sure that your strongest component and sense of validation comes from within, not what others are saying and thinking about you. And that's what makes you resilient. So thank you very much for listening, and we'll catch you at the end of November.